She slept with her classmate while I paid her rent, tuition, and bills. For 2 years, I gave her everything, thinking we were building a future. But behind my back, she was building a lie. So I walked away. No screaming, no drama, just silence. And then, I quietly destroyed the life she thought she got for free. I used to believe love was about giving everything you could, your time, your money, your energy, until the other person bloomed. That was what I believed when I met Brittany. I was 27, already a few years into running my own small business. It wasn't glamorous. Late nights, ramen dinners, and sleeping on my office couch were part of the grind. But I was building something real, and I had finally saved enough to move into a modest house of my own. That's when she walked into my life. Brittany. She was 25, a senior finishing her degree in graphic design. I first saw her at a local charity event my friend dragged me to. She stood out, not just because she was stunning with those warm hazel eyes and effortless confidence, but because she talked about dreams. Big dreams. She wanted to start her own creative agency. She spoke with fire in her voice and stars in her eyes, and I was hooked from the first moment. We hit it off quickly. Texts turned into calls turned into late-night talks, and soon she was spending weekends at my place. We had inside jokes, favorite shows, midnight pancakes. She made me feel young and limitless again. When she struggled to keep up with tuition and rent, I offered to help. It wasn't a question for me. It was just love. I paid for her books. Her share of the groceries eventually covered her entire rent. She moved in a few months later. I remember feeling proud, not resentful, because I thought we were building a future together. I didn't see myself as her sponsor. I saw myself as her partner. We had those beautiful, quiet moments, her sketching ideas at the kitchen table while I worked on invoices, nights curled up watching movies. She would sometimes wake me up just to say, "Thank you for believing in me." Those moments made all the hustle worth it. Looking back, I realize now I was writing a love story alone. But at the time, I was all in. Our love, to me, was something sacred. I even started setting aside money for a ring. I didn't tell anyone, but I had this fantasy of proposing during our trip to the mountains later that year. I even rehearsed what I'd say. Something like, "I believed in your dreams, because you made me believe in ours." I thought she was the one. Even my friends warned me once or twice, said I was doing too much, that the relationship felt one-sided, but I waved it off. Love isn't transactional, I told them. You give, without keeping score. Now, I wonder if she was always keeping score. If she saw me not as a partner, but as a stepping stone. But back then, none of those doubts existed. There was just me, and the woman I thought I'd grow old with. Part 2. When silence becomes suspicion. At first, it was small things, the kind of things you brush off when you trust someone. She stopped saying good morning the way she used to, no sleepy smile, no arms reaching across the bed. Just silence and a phone she clutched too tight. I told myself it was school stress, finals, deadlines. She was exhausted. Then came the late nights. "Study group," she'd say, already halfway out the door. She started wearing perfume I hadn't smelled before. Red lipstick, she said, was just for fun. And those high heels she hadn't touched in months? Suddenly part of her routine again. I didn't want to be that guy, the jealous one, the insecure one. So I let it go. But something had shifted. I could feel it in the way she avoided eye contact when I asked how her day was, in the way her phone never left her hand, even in the shower, in how she locked her screen when I walked by, even though she never used to care. One night, she came home at nearly 2 a.m., her eyes wide, like a deer caught in headlights. Her excuse? Melissa needed help with a project. She didn't even look me in the eye when she said it. Funny thing was, I'd talked to Melissa earlier that day. She was out of town visiting her sister. That was the first time I felt it. the fracture. Not quite a break. Not yet. But a hairline crack right through the trust I had built everything on. Still, I didn't confront her. I couldn't. I was afraid that saying it out loud would make it real. So I pretended. Pretended I believed her. Pretended we were okay. But pretending takes a toll. I started losing sleep. I'd wake up and find her scrolling through her phone at 3 a.m., smiling at messages she'd quickly delete. My stomach would knot every time she left the room to take a call. She said it was a classmate or a client for a freelance project. But she'd whisper. Always whisper. I began to question myself. Was I being paranoid? Insecure? Was I not enough? Then came the receipts. Literally. A crumpled receipt for a fancy dinner, 2 entrees, 2 glasses of wine. A reservation at a rooftop restaurant we used to talk about going to, but never did. The date? The same night she said she had an evening lab. When I showed it to her, she laughed. Said Melissa gave it to her, that she went with a group after a workshop. I wanted to believe her. God, I needed to believe her. But the lies were wearing thin. They weren't clever anymore. They were desperate, and they were piling up. I started keeping a journal, writing down the dates, times, what she said, what I saw. Not because I was trying to trap her, but because I didn't trust my own mind anymore. I needed to remind myself I wasn't going crazy. Melissa noticed something was wrong. "You look like hell, Shao," she told me one day when we met for coffee. "Is everything okay with you and Brittany?" I wanted to lie, to say we were fine, but the words wouldn't come. Melissa leaned in and said very carefully, "I don't want to cause drama, but you should know I saw her. Last Friday, at the cafe downtown. She wasn't alone." My heart sank. "Who was she with?" I asked. Melissa hesitated. "I don't know his name, but she was holding his hand. It didn't look like just a friend." I didn't respond. I couldn't. I just sat there, staring at my untouched coffee, feeling like my chest had caved in. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay in bed beside her, listening to the soft rhythm of her breathing. And all I could think was, she's lying next to me like nothing's wrong, like she's not tearing me apart from the inside out. I didn't say a word, but something inside me changed. It wasn't just sadness anymore. It wasn't even confusion. It was the beginning of something else. Resolve. The moment when pain sharpens into clarity. The moment when a man stops asking why and starts planning what comes next. It was a Sunday. I asked her to dinner at a restaurant we hadn't visited in months, the same rooftop place I found on that crumpled receipt. She didn't even flinch when I suggested it. Didn't hesitate. She got dressed like she was going on a date she cared about. Little did she know. This was the last date we'd ever have. I'd spent the past 2 weeks preparing, quietly moving my money, reassigning business accounts, rewriting ownership agreements. I wasn't just ending a relationship. I was taking my life back. She wore red, the same shade she wore the night Melissa saw her at the cafe. I almost laughed. The irony would have been amusing if it didn't hurt so damn much. Over appetizers, I was calm. Too calm. She chatted about her upcoming finals and a big presentation she was working on. All lies. I nodded, sipping my water, letting her talk. When the main course arrived, I pulled a small envelope from my jacket. I placed it beside her wine glass. She looked at it, confused. "What's this?" "Open it," I said. My voice was level, cold even. She opened the envelope and slid out 3 photos. One, her hand in someone else's, across a cafe table. 2, the same guy kissing her cheek while she laughed. 3, a blurry image of them walking into his apartment building, arms wrapped around each other. She froze. I didn't want to believe it, I said quietly. So I verified it. I checked locations, timestamps. I even pulled security footage from a friend who works near that cafe. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Then, finally, "This isn't what it looks like." A dry laugh escaped me. "Really?" "Because to me, it looks like my girlfriend, who I pay rent for, who I support while she focuses on her future, has been sleeping with someone else behind my back." "Please," she whispered, "let me explain." "You've had weeks to explain. I gave you every chance, and all you gave me were more lies." She started to cry, reaching across the table. I pulled my hand back. "I loved you, Brittany. I gave you everything. I believed in you even when you stopped believing in us." Tears rolled down her cheeks, mascara smudging. "I messed up, okay? I didn't mean for it to happen. He meant nothing. But I did." I leaned forward. "I meant something, and you threw me away like I was just your financial backup plan." She looked like a child caught in the act, guilt, fear, and disbelief washing over her. "I'm pregnant," she blurted suddenly. "Please, we can fix this. We have to." That was her final card, the fake pregnancy. I didn't even blink. "No," I said. "You're not. I already checked. I called the clinic you claimed to visit. You canceled the appointment. Twice." She went pale. I stood up, placing a second envelope on the table. "This is a notarized letter removing you from my business registration. The apartment lease is under my name only. You'll have 48 hours to pack your things." "Wait," she gasped, rising with me. "You can't do this. You can't just throw me away." I met her eyes, finally seeing her not as the woman I loved, but as the woman who used me. "You already did that. I'm just giving you the same gift you gave me." I walked out. I didn't look back. The morning after I walked away, the silence in the house was louder than ever. For the first time in over a year, I woke up without the weight of pretense on my chest. No more wondering who she was texting. No more fake smiles. No more lies tangled in perfume and lipstick. I made coffee. Black. Bitter. Exactly how I liked it. Something I'd stopped doing because she said it smelled too strong. I took my time sipping it. And I didn't miss her. By noon, I'd already called the leasing office and confirmed the 48-hour eviction notice. My lawyer confirmed the paperwork had gone through for the business. My accounts were locked. My passwords changed. My life reinforced with steel. Brittany, on the other hand, was unraveling. Word spread fast. Turns out, betrayal doesn't stay private for long when you live off someone else's generosity. Melissa, who'd been patient, silent, and loyal through everything, posted a vague message online. No names, just, "Some people ruin the best thing they ever had because they thought they deserved better. But karma doesn't need a calendar. It always shows up." People connected the dots. Brittany's friends started asking questions. One of her close classmates messaged me, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I had no idea she was still with you when she was seeing other people." And just like that, her carefully constructed image, sweet, driven, trustworthy, collapsed. Her side hustle clients dropped her. Group projects fell apart. Her phone blew up not with love, but judgment. The guy she cheated with vanished the moment her world started crumbling. She texted me, first begging, then blaming, then threatening. I didn't respond. I blocked her on everything. But I heard through Melissa that Brittany was staying on someone's couch. No money, no reputation, no one to lean on. Meanwhile, I was building again. But not like before. This time, I built for me. I joined a new co-working space downtown, modern, creative, filled with people who inspired me instead of drained me. I rebranded my business, launched a new line of community-focused food boxes, and signed a partnership deal with a sustainable supplier I'd been chasing for months. People noticed the shift in me. "Man, you look lighter," a vendor told me one day. "I feel lighter," I replied. "Like I finally let go of a backpack full of bricks." I wasn't looking for love, but it found me anyway. Her name was Ava. She worked at a nonprofit that partnered with my food drives. She had kind eyes and asked questions that made me feel seen, not judged. She never asked about my past, not at first, and when I told her the story one night over drinks, she didn't react with pity. She just nodded and said, "You didn't lose. You were released." That hit me harder than I expected, because she was right. I hadn't lost anything worth keeping. I'd been set free. Meanwhile, Brittany tried to spin the story, telling people I had abandoned her, that I manipulated her. But the truth had already taken root. People remembered who she was when no one was watching, and no amount of spin could erase that. Eventually, I heard she dropped out, left the city. No farewell party, no tears shed, just an empty echo where a future used to be. But I didn't celebrate her downfall. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. Her silence was enough. And my peace? That was the only revenge I ever needed. It's funny how you can crave connection and still flinch when someone gets too close. That was me with Ava. After everything with Brittany, I'd told myself I wasn't ready, that I didn't want anything serious, that I was better off alone. And for the most part, I believed it. Or at least, I wanted to believe it. Because the truth was, I was scared. Scared of giving again. Scared of being fooled again. Scared of losing myself in someone else's needs all over again. Ava never pushed. She didn't ask where I went when I pulled back for a few days. She didn't take it personally when I changed the subject every time something got a little too real. She didn't try to rescue me. And that, more than anything, made me trust her. We kept seeing each other in quiet ways, walks at the end of volunteer days, coffee on rainy Sundays, a text here and there that always felt like an open door, never a demand. But I kept my guard up, even when I didn't want to, even when part of me ached to let it down. I remember one evening, we were watching some indie film at a community event, the kind with subtitles and long silences. At one point, there was this line, "People don't build walls to keep others out. They build them to see who will care enough to climb over." I didn't react, but Ava turned her head slightly. She didn't say anything. Just gave me a look, soft, steady, like she could see right through me but wasn't going to use it against me. That scared me more than anything. After the movie, she asked if I wanted to grab dinner. I hesitated. "I'm not great company these days," I admitted. She smiled. "I'm not ordering your personality. Just a meal." We went. And it was good. Awkward in moments, quiet in others, but real. She didn't ask about my past, didn't probe. But when the check came and I instinctively reached for it, she gently stopped me. "You don't have to perform," she said. "I'm not here for what you can pay for. I'm here because I like the way you look at the world." No one had ever said that to me before. I didn't know what to say. So I just nodded. And for once, I didn't feel the need to repay kindness with a favor. I just let it land. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not because of anxiety, but because something had shifted. Ava wasn't like anyone I'd known. She didn't want to fix me. She didn't even want to know every detail of what had broken me. She just wanted to know who I was now, the version that came out of the fire. And slowly, very slowly, I started to believe that maybe that version was worth knowing. I'm still not sure what we are. Friends, mostly. Maybe more. But there's no pressure, no label, no ticking clock. And that's the beauty of it. She doesn't ask me to define things I'm still figuring out. She just shows up, brings her quiet strength, and lets me bring whatever I have, even if it's messy or unsure. Some nights, I still feel that reflex, the urge to run, to pull away before it gets too real. But then she laughs at something silly, or tells me about a childhood memory, that has nothing to do with love or betrayal or pain. And I stay. Not because I'm healed, but because with her, I don't have to be. When I think about who I was at the start of it all, it's almost hard to recognize him. The man who believed love meant giving everything, who equated sacrifice with loyalty. The one who paid the bills, carried the weight, swallowed his doubts just to keep the peace. He meant well. He loved deeply. But he didn't love himself nearly enough. Brittany didn't break me. She exposed the cracks that were already there, my need to feel needed, to be chosen, to prove my worth by pouring more and more into someone who gave less and less. But pain has a way of shaping us, if we let it. In the aftermath of it all, I didn't become colder. I didn't become cruel. I became careful. I learned to set boundaries. I learned that silence in a relationship can be as loud as screaming, and just as damaging. I learned that love without respect is just attachment in disguise. And most of all, I learned how to sit with myself, to stop measuring my value by how much I could offer someone else. That's where Ava comes in. She didn't walk into my life to rescue me. She didn't ask for anything. She didn't pry or push. She just existed, kind, steady, present. At first, I kept her at arm's length. I wasn't ready to trust what felt good. I was afraid of being wrong again. But she never demanded more than I could give. She never mistook my hesitation for rejection. One evening, after a community event, we ended up sitting on a bench watching people take down booths. It was cold. She offered me half her scarf without saying a word. I took it. That's how it started. Not with declarations, not with fireworks, but with silence that didn't hurt, space that didn't demand to be filled. She never asked for my story, but I gave it to her anyway, slowly, piece by piece, and she listened, not to respond, but to understand. She didn't try to fix me. She made space for me to fix myself, and for someone who had been manipulated, gaslit, made to feel like he was never enough. That kind of space felt like freedom. In contrast, Brittany was never just a villain. She was someone who never learned how to love without control, someone who took more than she gave and believed she was entitled to it. I don't hate her. I'm just done trying to save people who don't want to be saved. Her role in my life ended when I realized I didn't need to be chosen by her to choose myself. Now, I'm no longer the man who gives everything to be loved. I'm the man who loves himself enough to walk away from anything that threatens his peace. Whatever happens with Ava, whether it becomes something deeper or simply remains a meaningful friendship, I know one thing for sure. I won't shrink again to make someone else feel bigger. I won't explain my worth to anyone who needs convincing. I'm whole, not perfect, but whole. And for the first time in a long time, I'm proud of the man I've become. Not because someone else sees it, but because I finally do. If this story moved you, leave a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this.